So you walk into a room and the feeling is heavy and the room stinks. The room is funky, like old, wet garbage. But somebody's sitting in the room chilling. Like they're just sitting there like, man, you smell that?
Like me.
And that, what do you mean?
Right now.
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
Okay,
this is Miss Paisley, and we just had a fem flexibility session, which is stretch therapy. So during our therapy session, we were having a discussion about, I asked a question, I said, why do people fight to hold on to ignorance? Like the example of a person sitting in a funky, stinking room, and they're just sitting there like, man, it stinks in here. Why don't you get out of here? It's funky. Why don't you make a change and clean up and straighten up and get rid of the funk? And your answer was?
And I said, because we, especially as Black people, are so used to the trauma, the stressful situations that are uncomfortable, and over time, because we're so conditioned to them, it's comfortable. So you know the stink is there, all the bad things are going on, but you used to it, so it's almost like you immune to it after a certain point.
You don't smell it. You've been sitting in the stank so long,
right?
You don't even smell the funk because you've been in the funk so long. You've become accustomed to the funkiness of the funk, and you're comfortable being in your funk, in the stank.
And then, if you don't have somebody to take you out of it or to introduce you to something new, a new opportunity or a new way of thinking or whatever the case may be, then how will you know to change it? Because if you living in this mess, it's in your house, right? You're used to that. So over time, it's like, it's nothing. You don't even notice it. You don't notice that you need to make a change or to go in a better environment or better situation.
That's true. Functioning. Then you start functioning in dysfunction. You are functioning. And even, you said the word house, literal house, but that makes me think of this body that we're in as a vessel that houses our spirit. So how much funk are we carrying around in our physical home, in our minds, our thought processes, our mindsets, even things like, what is your generational mindset? Like, what's been passed down through the generations where, well, we just do this because we've been doing this, and Mama and them did this, and my grandmama and them did that.
That's a whole nother
That's
topic.
another topic for discussion.
Yes, that's a whole nother conversation. But
that'll be part
you're
two.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So let's stay on track. Functioning and dysfunction. So how do we get out of it? Do we have to change our circle of friends, our circle of influence? How do we come up out of the funky room?
So that part is not always easy. However, we need more examples. Number one, we need more examples, more mentors, more Black people showing other young Black people the way, because it's not about anybody else. It's not about the white people, or it's not about, the other races who don't see us. We have to see ourselves first. So once you first decide or are introduced to other people, mentors, then you have that seed planted in you that says like, hey, this is something I want to be like or mirror, or they said something that really resonated with me, so now I want to make a change. So when we have examples, we can kind of maneuver into different lanes, right? We can start to expand our mind. That's the first step, is examples. Then also doing your own research, because after a certain point, I feel like for myself, you get tired of the dysfunction. Something about it just doesn't feel right. So that invokes in my mind to do some research, like, how can I make this situation better? So those two things were key for me. And then there's other avenues after research and different things that you can implement. But I think those two things are key. Seeing other people do it and knowing that this can be done, and having that introduction of a new person or a new entity into your world, and then doing some research so that way you are informed. So exposure.
Yes. Exposure to bigger, better, greater things, and then you yourself, you have to raise your standards, and you have to want to change, because
it's levels.
Yeah, it is levels. It's levels. But the unfortunate thing is, a lot of people will not participate in their own intervention. You try to come save them, and they like, I don't want to leave.
Because everybody has their own path and their own journey. You can't save everybody. That's just what it is. People have to want it for themselves first before you can want it for them. You can want it all day long, but if they're not there, it doesn't make a difference.
That's true. So if you really, really, really want it, step your game up, raise your standards, expose yourself to people that are in a position where you want to be. And as Ms. Paisley said,
get out of your comfort zone.
Hey, that's it. That was good.
All right.
We out.